I want to say a little thing about the background for what we're doing here in the Magic Garden. And I like to look in the camera occasionally, so that's why I'm not looking out, so we can have contact. The thing is that everything we do here in the Magic Garden is based upon transpersonal psychology. And this is based upon 40 years of doing this. It's a lifetime of work and studying and doing self-exploration and making sessions and working with people. So we have become some of the elders in the psychedelic community, and we feel an inner urge to pass on the elixir which has been gathered for many decades, and also through pioneers' hard work and through pain and deep insights. And it feels important for us to do this in a systematical way. So we have started a 4 years education program 2 years ago, and now we are on our second team. And because it is, when we're doing this work, it is important to have skilled helpers, skilled guides who have traveled themselves, but also know the techniques and the methods, how to be the best guides and really support in a wise and proper way, which is in deep alignment with this transpersonal psychology. So we have started the possibility to take these 12 modules in separately. And Frederikke want to start, and Johanna is going to start, and perhaps there are some other who are interested in taking this journey together with us. So I want to give a little background. This is our symbol and our logo, and it is because the butterfly has a very powerful image of transformation. It starts by being a caterpillar and then go into this puppet, and then doing a powerful transformation process there, and then suddenly it becomes a new being, a butterfly. The only thing which is left from the caterpillar to the butterfly is the heart. And I think that's a very beautiful image. And my butterfly guitar is created in this symbol. And we have this symbol mainly because we believe that every human being has has the possibility to really be happy, be totally in alignment with the universe, that every human being has the possibility to outlive their innermost dream, and that every human being have a healthy core. And this is one of the approaches which Stanislav Grof gives to every client he's working with, no matter how hard issues they have, how hard traumas, that he always are aiming for the healthy core inside. And I think that's very beautiful, because people who are acting evil and with hatreds and aggressive, they have been in some difficult situations themselves, which has made them evil. So we have to break that pattern, and that is one of the things that we're seeing on these ceremonies. That is, people having issues with alcohol, for example. Their parents, they were addicts and their parents again were addicts. So we have to break those patterns. So that's one of the big things that we're doing this inner work, that is to break these negative patterns. And I think that's really important to make this world surviving. That is to break those negative patterns which are in our collective consciousness. So that's why we have a butterfly, because it is possible to really fly for every soul. And we think that is Joseph Campbell is saying it very beautiful. He's saying that follow your bliss and doors will open where there are no doors. We said in another way, we say that the universe always supports, the universe always tries to give us new doors, give us new possibilities, and the universe tries with everything what happens in our life to support us, to direct us in a way which makes us more whole and more living a more fulfilled life, and helping us making a life strategy which is in alignment with our true identity. So transpersonal psychology starts with those two guys, mainly Freud and Jung, and they lay the foundation for depth psychology. That was around the beginning of the 20th century. And Freud, he had a model of consciousness which are basically based on what Grof called the Cartesian, Newtonian Cartesian paradigm. He believed that every person is born like totally clean. The traumas is not deeper than our childhood. So, and this layer Grof calls the biographical layer. And all issues, all our traumas, all our phobias and whatever, Freud, in his model, has their background in traumatic experiences in our childhood. And his most famous student was Carl Gustav Jung. And they had a long conversation, long interaction, until Carl Gustav Jung started to have very powerful experiences himself. He was catapulted in very altered state of consciousness and had visions, and he recognized that consciousness is deeper than not just our biographical layer. So he discovered what he called the collective unconscious. And the collective unconscious, there he was mythological experiences, archetypal experiences, and spiritual experiences of death and rebirth. And where Freud and Jung together started depth psychology, then actually Jung is the father of transpersonal psychology. And Jung was very much interested in also astrology. He used tarot cards, and he invented the principle of synchronicity. Synchronicity is the principle that some inner experiences are connected to outer experiences, experiences which don't have a direct cause and effect, but that coherence, how the stars are moving, can help us to predict individual psyches, that the way that the stars are moving are connected to historical events. And he was also using a tarot card and dreams. Freud also used dreams, but actually Freud said that the royal road to the unconscious were through dreams. But Carl Jung, he took that further, saying that our psyche is really connected to the universe. So that's why he's the father of transpersonal psychology, because transpersonal goes beyond our individual psyche. Then Albert Hofmann came in 1943. He is a chemist working at Sandoz, making substances for medicine purposes, and he called it synpyretios, but by accident, or by what he would say that it was a voice almost calling to him, he discovered a substance, LSD, and it's called LSD 25 because it was number 25 in a series of experiments. And he actually invented it in 1938, but it didn't seem to have any effect. But then he heard these voices try to make this substance once more, and he made it. And by accident, he ingested a very, very small amount, and that became the world's first LSD trip. He thought that he had to try that substance again, and then he took a dose which was very small, 250 micrograms, which is 0.00025 gram. It's a very small amount of substance, but it showed out to be a very powerful dose. So there's an amazing description in his book where he's starting at the laboratory and suddenly feels this overwhelming visions and feeling that he's almost dying, and he had to go home, and he's bicycling through Basel to go home, and he calls the doctor, and he really thinks that he's dying, but when the doctor is arriving, then he's really in bliss and had undergone really deep transformative experiences. So Sandoz, the owner of Sandoz, his father was a psychologist and found this very interesting. So they thought, let us try to investigate this more. So they sent it samples to various universities and clinics around the world, and among them was Stanislav Grof. He was working or studying in Czechoslovakia, and at that time, in the 50s, psychiatry were really influenced by the Freudian way to see how consciousness is. So it was a very limited model of consciousness they were working with. And for the first 2 or 3 years, he was only being sitter for other trying this substance, artists, clients, psychologists, and so forth, trying this substance. But after 3 years, he had the possibility to have a session himself, and it was an extremely powerful experience for Grof. He said that the first 7 years he was studying psychology, they were working with the Freudian methods, studying dreams and free associations and so forth. And he said that after these 7 years, he knew what was wrong with him. He knew which trauma he had, but nothing happens. He didn't feel any difference at all. But then he tried this powerful LSD, and he was really catapulted out in the stars and out of his body, and had very powerful experiences. And when he came back, he said, I don't know what happens, but now I really feel much different. So, and after that one experience, he decided to dedicate his whole life to studying these altered state of consciousness. One experience, and your life path is totally changed. That says something about how powerful those experiences can be. So Grof, they were working with a method called the psychoanalytic way, which is a way to conduct these sessions where it is many sessions and low dosages. And he was working with 22 patients for a long period, and some of them got over 100 sessions. And because they were working with lower dosages, and because it was many sessions, that gave him the possibility really to study the psyche in depth. And he could see that when people have repeated sessions, then the sessions are in a kind of in a flow, in a sequence with each other. Mostly they started to have experiences in the Freudian biographical layer of consciousness with childhood traumas and so forth. But as soon as the journey, the sessions, they went it further on, they started to have experience of being in the birth channel. And after the birth channel, they had experience of transpersonal experiences. And for him, it was a very, very, very big challenge, because those experiences were not supposed to happen. I mean, they were working with a very limited framework. And what made the big difference was that Stan had sessions with his brother. And there he had the ability to really confront negative experiences, and he got the experience on his own system, on his own body, that when you really go with underworld experiences, letting yourself die, letting yourself really go through the experiences of being trapped in the birth channel, letting yourself being eaten or by demons or whatever it is, then it resolves and releases a lot of tensions, a lot of negative energies, and gives freer energy and comes into positive experiences. It was his courage that you are sitting here. He was the first to have this insight that what is really going on here is that not only the universe, but if we completely surrender to those experiences and surrender to what he calls the inner healer and to the body's inherent wisdom, or to our psychophysical system's intelligence, then a tremendous amount of healing and transformation and release of negative energies takes place. So Albert Hofmann, he says that if I'm the father of LSD, then Stan is the godfather. And at that time in Czechoslovakia, it was under the Russian Republic, so he was not, he could not read Western literature or was not in contact with colleagues from around the world. But in 1967, he got an invitation to come to USA. And he flew to USA with 2 big bags filled with sessions, reports, and some clothes, and he never came back for 2 decades. And then he started to investigate further on with this substance in USA and making psychedelic. They were shifting from psycholytic sessions, low dosage, to psychedelic sessions. That is another approach, that is higher dosages but lesser sessions. So in 1969, Stanislav Grof, together with Abraham Maslow and Jim Fadiman, founded Transpersonal Psychology. And the goal was to create a new branch of psychology that honors the entire spectrum of human experience, including the study of non-ordinary states of consciousness and the spiritual practices of many cultures throughout history that connect humans with the divine. That's very, very, very beautiful. And in many ways, 1969 is a perhaps the most important year on the planet. And you can also see that in the stars. That's going to be another lecture. But 1969 was also the year that Jimi Hendrix played on Woodstock, being the biggest rock star, and Apollo landed on the moon, and the first image of Earth was taken from space. But it is also the year where transpersonal psychology was founded. And what is really a fantastic thing with Stan is that he had the capacity to integrate both the wisdom, the experience from depth psychology, but also integrate it with Oriental mysticism, with religious experiences, spiritual systems, and deep ecology. And he had an amazing capacity really to, Rick Tarnasis, he says one place that Stan is giving the answers on the questions that we other even haven't thought of to ask. So it says something about his enormous capacity to really integrate spiritual disciplines, integrate the insights, the total pool of experience, including not only depth psychology, but also shamanism, tantra, mythology, religious studies, philosophical studies, and so forth, to make a new paradigm which opens up for an understanding of the universe, which is totally different from the paradigm that most Western people are growing up with, namely that we are living, most Western people are living in a worldview in a universe which is where consciousness is a random product of matter, where we are isolated, where the universe has no intelligence, the universe is lifeless, the universe is something that we can conquer, the universe is something which man gives purpose. The worldview which is rising from transpersonal psychology is totally opposite. In that worldview, the world is, the universe is permeated with intelligence. The worldview, the universe is permeated with life, with consciousness, with spirits, and it has a purpose. And I think this is a message which is very important in these years that we're living in here, where many people feels that it is out of control and out of purpose, and there's no way really how to resolve this enormous global crisis that we are in. I met Stan the first time in 1992 actually, but that didn't have a picture. But in 1994, I participated in several of these transpersonal conferences, which he has founded, Katrina and I were blessed by having some of the pioneers in Denmark in psychedelic therapy. Stan, he moved to Esalen in 1973, and Esalen was a kind of axis mundi in a period for 2 decades, where Stan, together with other pioneers as Joseph Campbell, Richard Tarnas. Carl Gustav Jung was dead at that moment, but a lot of researchers, Fritjof Capra, Ram Dass, Alan Watts, were teaching at Esalen, and together they could see that Stan's research was in alignment with Joseph Campbell's research methodology, for example, and that it was in alignment with newer scientific studies in quantum physics, and they really lay the foundation for how to conduct sessions, sacred sessions with sacred plant medicine in the most safe way, and also giving a framework where these experiences really are allowed to do what they have to do, namely really free our spirits, free our traumas, and free the negative energies which we have carried for many generations, and really allowing us to make a proper life strategy. And Katarina and I were lucky that let me see what do I have here. Yeah, that when I was young and I had a very powerful shamanic initiatory crisis, I was really looking for a teacher, and I was really lucky that I met Jørgen Lundby. Jørgen Lundby is the Danish pioneer in psychedelic therapy and also transpersonal therapy, and he was taught by Stanislav Grof. He came at this Esalen Institute. He was taught by Joseph Campbell, and he translated many of their books into Danish. And Jørgen, he was a rebel. I mean, in the late 60s, they were occupying the psychological laboratory in the Danish university, and really wanted to make a difference. And Jørgen, he was a man with an extremely courage, an extremely strength and sincerity, and he really gave his life to bring transpersonal psychology to Denmark, to Scandinavia, and so he became my teacher, and we studied together. We was sitters for each other for many years, and Jørgen and I, we shared the same vision. And that was the vision back to Albert Hofmann, namely that those sacred substances should be used in modern Eleusis. And this is Stan's model of consciousness, and I don't want to go too much into this, just show that it is in 3 layers. I think you all got a video with the speak where I'm going through these layers, but we have the personal unconscious on top here, ordinary ego consciousness on the top, then we have personal unconscious, and when we go deeper in our exploration, deeper in our inner journeys, then we come down to these basic perinatal matrices, which is our birth trauma, but also our spiritual death and rebirth, which is a major contribution that Stan has made, really showing this how the importance of our birth trauma and the importance of these layers in our consciousness, and then transpersonal unconscious under this with the karmic memories, ancestral memories, and collective memories. Joseph Campbell, he is quoted that he said that it's an image on Freud. He said that Freud was sitting on a whale while he was fishing, not recognizing that he was sitting on this whale. And Jung, he recognized the whale, but then Stanislav Grof came and he recognized that the ocean that the whale is swimming in. I think that's a very beautiful image saying how big the contribution of Stan is, and that's why it is very important for us to implement this wisdom, this experience, this cartography of the psyche, because there's not that many people being aware of this. Many people are living in the Freudian cartography of the psyche. Okay, I had a lot of images with Stan and Jørgen and me, but it was lost in a computer crash. So this is the only image I have left of Jørgen and Stan and me. And that is an image where I was 20 years old meeting Jørgen Lundby. And an image of Katrine and Jørgen and me for 2003. Yes. So the basic thing that Stan has given us is this protocol, how to conduct these inner journeys. These sacred medicines has been used for thousands of years in indigenous traditions, and Stan integrates those things in his work. So you're right in that way. But Stan was the first in the Western society. He was the first Western psychologist dared to confront his inner demons, dared really to go beyond and not only read about it, but try it in his own psyche and go with, and Stan really has shown us psychonauts, explorers of consciousness, how to conduct this in a proper way and conduct it as safely as possible, but also giving the framework how to interpret those experiences, because many experiences comes in metaphors, and many people come to journeys in South America and come home a bit confused how should I use this. So Stan's really meta contribution is also that it is connected to myth, it is connected to the stars. He says that the as far as he sees it, then the two main things for psychiatry is to implement holotropic, non-ordinary states of consciousness, and archetypal astrology, for example. He sees it as a major tool to understand what goes on in the psyche, what goes on in the universe, what goes on in the collective unconscious. And working with shamanism, working with myth, working with archetypal astrology is amazing tools how to really come in alignment with the universe, how to come in alignment with your dharma, with yourself, and make yourself a total clear life strategy. And I think that is what is important. That is not only being healed from our traumas, but also getting in alignment with the universe and really finding your life path and walk it. So that's why we implement this gathered experience in our training program, and that's also giving us the framework to help you integrate your experiences after you have done these journeys. Yeah. What Stan has taught for his work with 4,000 clients. He has been a sitter for 4,000 travelers, 4,000 clients. That is many sessions, and he has had access to other psychotherapist sessions too. And what is especially for him, and that is why how we also conducted, is really to have trust in the body's inherent wisdom, in the intelligence of the unconscious. An image Stans is giving is that symptoms is frozen processes. Make sense? As those symptoms that we have, hate or anger or pain in the stomach or not feeling good or whatever it is, headaches or it is frozen processes. It is frozen energies. So when you should not go away from the symptoms. You should actually enhance the symptoms, enhance what is frozen inside, and really go into the pain, go into the anger, go into the bitterness, and go with it. So you having the knowledge that the way out of those difficult experiences is to go totally into them. If you know that before a session, if you know that this is the way that, I mean, if you look at, you said the Indians, when you read the passage of indigenous people, they are hard. They are really going through big trials. With both, I mean, the Indians, they will have the sun dance being hanged up in your tits, nipples, yeah, exactly, nipples, until you fainted. You fall down and you've really entered a powerful, non-ordinary experience. In some cultures, they have bloodletting. The Aztec, they have bloodletting. Vision quests, Indians being put up on the mountains, sitting up there fasting and being awake for several days and nights, continued, really inducing powerful non-ordinary states of consciousness. It is connected to trials, but they had the insight that when you go through it, then you have healing experiences, and that's why this map I showed before is important. That's why we have those introduction events. That's why I'm saying this. That is to prepare you for the journey, prepare you to go into the underworld, prepare you that when you die, then you don't die really. But it can give the sensation that you really are dying. But there was a French monk saying it very beautiful. He's saying that the one who dies, before he die, he will not die when he die. And that's also to be a psychonaut, to explore your consciousness is a practice. It is a practice. So when you repeatedly have had the experience that, okay, this is painful, this really hurts, it's difficult to go into it, but when I do it, then I feel much better after the session. So each time, you accumulate more knowledge about yourself, more knowledge how the system is working, allowing yourself to let more and more go and really trust the experience, really go into it. And that's also why the skill to be a sitter, to be a guide, is very precious, and the sitter and the guide have to have a lot of experience themselves, because you can hold a hand in many ways. And when you are traveling, you are extremely sensitive. You can feel this hand has this hand experience how to support me, and this is this is somehow it is a work which goes generations back. I mean, that Hofmann's wonder substance should be used in modern Eleusis goes back to the middle of the last century, and now we are 2024. But this is actually his vision manifested. So we are part of this collective field, and I think that it is. There was I heard an interview. There was a wonderful speaker who was saying that we think it is the plant that we are using, but perhaps it is the plant using us to call us back to being in alignment with Mother Earth again. It's perhaps the most interesting principle that Jung he discovered. He made a discovery that experiences from the inside could have, for example, you could dream of something. The most famous experience he has was he had a client for which it was impossible for him to make a breakthrough. It was impossible for him to help her heal, getting through her difficult situation. And he thought to himself, there must be some kind of miracle. And then she was dreaming of I think it was a beetle. And then Jung heard something on the window. And he thought it was a little animal like a beetle. And then he grabbed the beetle and gave it to his patient, saying, "Here is your beetle." And that made the breakthrough. So that was a synchronicity between her sharing her dream and something happened in the outer world. And I think we all know it. We're thinking about a person, and then suddenly that person calls you. My mother, she had a watch from her grandfather, and she was traveling in England, and then suddenly the watch stopped. And then she learned that exactly at that time the watch was stopped, her grandfather was died. So that's synchronicity, okay? And Stan and his colleague Rick Tarnas made the recognition, not alone because Jung actually did it before, but that we are all individually connected to the planets. That moment when we are born, the way the planets are, it make a geometrical position showing a diagram how our psyche is functioning. And Tarnas, Grof's closest colleague, says that in his eye, it's the most visible and clear sign that we're living in an intelligent universe permeated with meaning and purpose and consciousness. Yeah. Okay. Just synchronicity. This is our mandala. This is our image showing how we try really to include the total pool of experience on the planet. It is the 6 symbols for the world religion, and the animals are showing the symbols for the shamanism, and the 2 squares are for agnosticism and atheism. And I just want to show you a funny thing, because the day that we made that image, that was the 11th May 2011. You can see that with very small letters there. So that is a day with not only 2 numbers 11, but actually 3, because when you take the cross sum of 11, 5, and 2011, that also adds up to 11. So synchronicity again. I wasn't aware of that. I just recognized it here half a year ago when I was sitting and working on my book. That is the only day in another month, that November, that this happens in this century with 3 numbers 11. Just consider that. So this is my last image. This is our temple when it was born, the 14th September 2009. Okay, so that was a short introduction to the history of transpersonal psychology. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you got something out of it, and also see what is that what we are doing. That is my main point. Is rooted in a lot of research, a lot of pioneers, and in me and many other from the planets. Really, the front line of depth psychology pioneers on this planet, and it is what we're doing is really well researched, and we're trying to do our best to make the setting so optimal as possible. And we also, if anyone interested, we are inviting in to pass on these skills and practices to be a good helper and guide and sitter. Okay, ready? Good. I hope. Then. Yeah.